Dude, what the fuck even is this game? What's up, how's it going, guys? It's Deathshame here, and I'm going to be bringing you some Shattered Skies content today. Now, I've been playing the game for a little while now, and when I first started out, I just found it very confusing, and just the environment itself was very hard to get used to. You would have death squads rolling around killing you, or just the simple two-man. Playing the game was really difficult for me as a new player, and it had inspired me to try and make a video that would hopefully help new players out and get into the game a lot easier than what I had. Now, I just want to throw out a disclaimer right now. This is just the basics into Shattered Skies. This doesn't even go close to covering everything in detail, but this is just a video to help the new people who are planning on playing it solo. So with that said, let's hop right into the video. The first step is by far the most important. Make sure you are in a server with the least amount of people possible. Doing this as a solo player will create the most optimal situation for your looting. When you start out in the game, you're going to be spawned in a Dominion. The Dominions are the two safe zones on the map. You have one in the northern part and one in the southern. During your first spawn into the game, you will be given a few starter bags. The starter bags just contain some level 1 weapons and some ammo to help get you by. Unless you're a level 1 and are required to use the guns that are given to you in the starter bag, I highly recommend that you go out to a city or a town and try and find a higher level gun. Regardless of whatever weapons you have available, you're going to need to grab some of the most basic materials. These include a backpack, food, medical supplies, etc. Do this by going to the town closest to your Dominion. You can take the guns that you were given in your starter bag, as those won't matter because more than likely the loot that you find at the town will be better than what you were given at the beginning. While gathering your basic materials, grab as much as you can. More than likely as a new player, you'll end up using them down the road. While you're looting, you may come across mechanical and material parts. They're going to be orange and yellow boxes that you see lying around. Definitely pick them up because you'll be using them for crafting later on. Once you have a gun, plenty of ammo, some medical supplies, and a backpack, you're ready to continue on to the next step and figure out a route that's best for your looting. This is by far the best part about Shattered Skies, coming up to a crate that you hope to God no one has come across yet. Loot crates are super important because it's the best way you can get the best items. With a respawn time of 2 fucking hours, it can sometimes be a miracle to even come across a loot crate, an uplink station, a Dominion blockade without seeing that respawn timer. This is where a loot route becomes extremely handy. You're going to be using a loot route to help track when these loot crates become available and you can cap them immediately. Because you're on the route, by the time you pick up your last loot crate and deposit your loot into the global vault, the first crate that you had picked up should be done and ready to be picked up or very close to. This is the map of Shattered Skies. On it, you can see a couple of routes players will use in order to cap their loot crates. On it, I've also marked what towns have how many loot crates as well as the towns that have none at all. You'll want to make sure to avoid these towns as much as possible, as it'll be a waste of your time as well as give players more time to capture the loot crates. As a solo player, you're going to want to avoid the towns Misty Vale and Wolf Pine. They generally have a lot of action going on, as well as a lot of PvP. Another place that you want to avoid is the reactor and towns near it. When the reactor comes up, you're going to see loads of teams hop on the server that you're on. This is also going to bring action to towns near the reactor as well as the reactor itself. Now that you've found the route that you're going to do, the tricky part is actually getting on one and successfully doing one. Because you're competing with so many other players, you're going to find either A, the loot crate that you're trying to take has already been taken and has a long timer, or B, you can take it and you can try the route. After playing this game a while, I've come up with a few tips that will either help you narrow down your route or help you get on one. When you get to your first loot crate that's on the route that you've decided to go on, take a look at the timer. This is going to give you a hint if anyone is on the route that you're trying to go on, or if you're on a route that's been renewed. Let's say you go up to a loot crate and it has, let's say, 26 minutes on it. This gives you a hint that either the next town that you go to will be on a shorter timer or a longer one. And this is what you're going to want to keep track of. You want to keep track of all the loot crates that you've been to and the time amount that's on them. More than likely, the loot crates on the route that you're on are going to be taken if you're seeing a timer on your first location. However, if you can manage your time and come back to the loot crate and your route by the time that they're up, it will then put you on the route that you're trying to get on. If you're still having trouble getting on a route, what you can do is you can use the times that you've seen on the loot crates and then anticipate what towns haven't been hit and try to go to those and grab as many loot crates as possible. While generally all the loot crates in town will be on the same timer because people will loot all the loot crates once they're up, this isn't always the case. So while you're looting, always make sure to check every single loot crate. While you're out looting, you want to make sure you're farming aliens for XP as well as the crafting materials. These crafting materials include the mechanical and material parts I brought up earlier, the orange and yellow boxes that you can loot around the map, but as well as the meteor ores as well as the meteor crystals. These are going to be essential later on because they're going to give you better armor for fighting, or you can use them to get gun bags, fortification bags, etc. And you know, one of the hard things about finding a route is sometimes all of them are going to be taken. You're going to have players that will hop on multiple servers to do their routes over and over and over again. That way they can get the maximum amount of efficiency. This can make looting pretty hard. And because of that, it leads us into the next set of steps. Learning how to deal with players as well as aliens inside the game to make your looting a lot easier. Let's say when you spawn in, you come across a loot crate that is almost up. There's like maybe 2 minutes or so, and you can cap it. Super easy. You have to be extremely cautious of this. Just joining a server and capping a loot crate that you spawn in year 2 could mean a couple of things. It means A, you're going to get a free loot crate, whoever was on the loop, they're gone, or they're on the loop and they're going to come fuck you in the asshole right then and there. This is the way you basically have to think about it. On the servers with the least amount of people possible, there's usually about 15 to maybe 10 people on it. You're going to be taking up one of those slots. However, you're going to have teams and other solo players on that server because they're either new to the game, or teams that take up all the space on lower servers can control the entire map. Either the team will split up or they'll all go together, which is generally the case. This is why you're going to want to avoid those cities such as Misty Vale, Wolfpine, the Summit Airfield. Teams can easily take them because they can have more than enough people controlling it and on the loot crates, and they'll be out within maybe 2 or 3 minutes. This is where looking at those loot crate times becomes very important. If you're paying attention and you can see that the loot crate has been taken within about 2 minutes or so, you need to be on high alert because that means there is more than likely another player in the town that you're in as well. As a solo player, I would personally leave the town and try and go to another because that would mean that the loot route that they're on, more than likely at the next town, the loot hasn't been taken yet and I can probably get there. I would also leave because more than likely there's more than just that one person there, and that is not an engagement that you will likely win. When it comes to dealing with players, it's super iffy. You could try to fight them one-on-one, but there's a very high chance another person will hear you and will come to start fighting you again, or there's just more than one person in the group there to help fight you off. Out of all the engagements that I have encountered, I have definitely found that it's best just to leave. However, if you are just starting your looting process and you're with gear that you don't really care about, just go for it. More than likely, the people that you are going to try and kill are going to have better loot for you, and then if you die, then whatever, but if you get their loot and you're able to get out, perfectly fine. You have benefited yourself, and now you can just continue on. While you're out looting, a big thing that you're going to encounter is the aliens. Now, these motherfuckers are the most annoying thing in the entire game. While you're trying your absolute best to not create any attention whatsoever, an alien will spawn right next to you to make sure everybody knows that you're there. However, there's a couple of things that you can do to make sure that the aliens don't make your presence as noticeable as possible. If you're in a town with loot crates, and an alien spawns right on top of you. Try to go to the loot crate and see if it's on a timer or not before you actually kill the alien. This will allow you to decide whether or not you actually have to kill it. If you go to the loot crate and see that you can pick it up, kill the alien, and then loot the rest of the crates as fast as possible. However, if you see that there's a timer on the loot crate, you can simply run out of the town and the alien will eventually unaggro on you. A couple of common things to note is right as you enter a town or enter the central part of the town, an alien will more than likely spawn in. Almost every town you go into, once you get near where the loot crate is, aliens will always spawn. The biggest thing when dealing with aliens is make sure that you have AP ammo, because it'll rip through them a lot easier and a lot faster than any other ammo type, and make sure to reserve your stamina. You're going to need it in order to run away from aliens as well as reload your weapon once you're out of ammo. And that about covers it all. Now that you've learned how to loot, get on the loot route, take care of yourself in engagements of players and aliens, you're pretty much good to go. Again, this video is just covering the basics for a new solo player. That way, if you're just now hopping into the game, you actually have an idea of what you need to do in order to be successful, rather than dying over and over and over like I did when I first started. But in all seriousness, I really do hope that the video helped anyone who's new to the game or had just bought the game and is about to get into it. If you felt like this video was helpful, go ahead and leave me a like. If you have any questions or if I missed anything, let me know in the comments below. And if this is your first time coming across my channel, go ahead and subscribe. Anyway, I hope you guys really liked the video, and I'll see you next time.